Thank you, Chairman Graham, Ranking Member Blumenthal, and members of the committee. At last month's hearing, I spoke about the role internet platforms play in supporting democracy, keeping people safe, and upholding fundamental values like free expression. People have deeply held beliefs about these issues and can reach very different conclusions about the right balance. We try to do what's best for our community and the world, acknowledging that there are difficult trade-offs. I believe that some of these trade-offs and decisions would be better made through a democratic process, and I look forward to discussing that today. But first, I want to update you on our efforts during the election. At Facebook, we took our responsibility to protect the integrity of this election very seriously. In 2016, we began to face new kinds of threats, and after years of preparation, we were ready to defend against them. We've built sophisticated systems to protect against election interference that combine artificial intelligence, significant human review, and partnerships with the intelligence community, law enforcement, and other tech platforms. We've taken down more than 100 networks of bad actors who are trying to coordinate and interfere globally. We established a network of independent fact checkers that covers more than 60 languages. We made political advertising more transparent on Facebook than anywhere else, and including TV, radio, and email. And we introduced new policies to combat voter suppression and misinformation. Still, the pandemic created new challenges. How to handle misinformation about COVID and voting by mail, how to prepare people for the reality that results would take time, and how to handle if someone prematurely declared victory or refused to accept the result. So in September, we updated our policies again to reflect these realities of voting in 2020 and make sure that we were taking precautions given these unique circumstances. We worked with local election officials to remove false claims about polling conditions that might lead to voter suppression. We partnered with Reuters and the National Election Pool to provide reliable information about results. We attached voting information to posts by candidates on both sides and additional contexts to posts trying to delegitimize the outcome. We locked down new political ads in the week before the election to prevent misleading claims from spreading when they couldn't be rebutted. We strengthened our enforcement against militias and conspiracy networks like QAnon to prevent them from using our platforms to organize violence or civil unrest. Altogether, I believe this was the largest election integrity effort by any private company in recent times. This is what people expect of us. And I'm glad that from what we've seen so far, our systems performed well. But election interference remains an ongoing threat that will never fully be solved. So we continue to improve with each election. But our integrity work is really only half the story. We also ran an unprecedented civic engagement program to encourage people to take part in our democracy. We ran the largest voter information campaign in history. 140 million people visited our voting information center, including more than 33 million on election day alone. We estimate that we helped more than 4.5 million people register to vote and helped states recruit 100,000 poll workers. This was done in a transparent and nonpartisan way as part of our ongoing commitment to supporting the civic process. And on top of these efforts by Facebook, my wife Priscilla and I personally donated $400 million to support election officials around the country in making sure that they had the infrastructure they needed to enable everyone to vote safely during this pandemic. In my last testimony, I said that people would judge us by our performance during this election. And I believe that the full story is not only how we handled bad behavior on our platforms, but also how we encouraged civic engagement more broadly. I'm proud of the work we've done to support our democracy, and I look forward to discussing this. I also welcome the opportunity to discuss internet regulation. I believe we are well overdue to update the rules for the internet around content, elections, privacy, and data portability. There are important questions here, including who should be responsible for what people say online. For any system to work, I believe there needs to be a transparent process that people feel they can trust. And this will be difficult, especially since our country is so divided, but I believe it's the only way to address these issues for the long term. The challenges that we face are deeper than any one platform. They're about how we want to balance basic social equities that we all care about, like free expression, public safety, and privacy. This is why I believe we would benefit from clearer guidance from elected officials, and I look forward to discussing this today.